For this experiment, we're going to be mixing 3 different solids together, creating a mixture, and then separating the mixture back into the 3 components. The materials we'll be needing today will be a small amount of water, a beaker, a glass rod, a flask, a funnel, a magnet, filter paper, a hot plate, and our 3 different solids, salt, sand, and iron. We're gonna go ahead and mix the 3 different solids into our beaker. The first step we're going to do here is to remove the iron first by using our magnet. We're gonna place our magnet in a Ziploc bag to allow us to have less mess if possible. Notice how the iron is attracted to our magnet. Now what's left in the beaker is sand and salt. In order for us to separate the sand and the salt, we're going to add a small amount of water to allow the salt to dissolve. Get the glass rod and just stir for a little bit. We're gonna set this aside and set up our filtration setup, obtain our filter paper, and place it like so in our funnel. We're going to get this mixture that now has sand at the bottom and salt water up top. We're going to decant this mixture by leaving the sand in the beaker and then pouring the salt water through the flask. While we're waiting for our filtration to finish, we can go ahead and remove the magnet from our Ziploc bag. And now we have all of the iron on in our first container. We have sand right here that we can transfer, and that's okay if the sand is a little bit wet. We did have to dissolve the salt. We're going to set this aside. We do have a hot plate ready to go. We're gonna just increase the heat. Now it looks like our filtration is finished, and we have salt water in our flask, and then we've got leftover sand in our filter paper. The flask contains salt water. We're going to transfer it to a beaker and allow this salt water solution to heat up on our hot plate. The reason why we put water with the sand and salt was to allow the salt to dissolve in the water. And what's happening here is we are boiling that mixture to allow the water to evaporate. Water, in comparison to salt, has a lower boiling point, which is why we're going to see water evaporate into steam and observe the salt crystals that are left behind. You can see the salt crystals form as the water evaporates into steam. We've got a good heat going on here. We're gonna go ahead and turn off our hot plate. I'm gonna use my hot hands to remove the beaker from the hot plate. Notice how we've got some salt crystals at the bottom of our beaker. Now, I'm gonna use my glove here and see if I can scrape some of the salt off this beaker. You've got some salt crystals right there. And so now we can visually see iron, sand, and salt separated. For this experiment, we explored the 3 different properties of 3 different solids: iron, sand, and salt. We extracted the iron first by using a magnet. We then added water to our mixture containing sand and salt, allowing the salt to dissolve in the water and then filtering out the sand. Lastly, we boiled the salt water over a hot plate, allowed the water to evaporate, leaving the salt crystals behind. We hope you enjoyed this experiment today. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you next time here on Expulsion Science.